Okay, I have made a new account. This is literally what you see after you pressed play. You're gonna choose your language and stuff, and now this is the screen that you will be seeing after you download the content. Well, the game will ask you if you have played Yu-Gi-Oh before. I definitely have, so I will be clicking yes, and this doesn't really matter too much. I guess that just affects the amount of information you get from the tutorial. But for me, I'm just gonna click yes, and yeah, it's gonna ask you to choose a character. I will be always choosing Yami Yugi because Yami Yugi has a really good skill, which goes well with a lot of different decks. So usually if you ask people, they will tell you to choose Yami Yugi, and that is what we're going to do. And it doesn't really matter which one you choose because you will be getting both of them anyway. In some point in time, it's not that big of a deal. But I usually choose Yugi. And yeah, you will be facing Seto Kaiba as your first tutorial. And it's not difficult, you literally cannot lose. So it's going to show you the basic mechanics of the game, including summoning monsters, setting... I think Spells and Traps is the next game, yeah. This one is only going to be summoning monsters, so yeah. You basically drag the monster out and press summon. And by the way, this is actually the game that you're seeing right now is played using an emulator, so it is going to be the same exact controls from your phone or iPad if you're going to use that. If you're using the Steam version, the version where you play on PC, the controls are going to be a bit different, and the stuff on screen is going to be slightly different than if you're going to use a phone or tablet. So keep that in mind. But I think probably most people is going to be using phone or tablet anyway. So yeah. So if you're using a Steam version, you can use some different shortcuts. For example, you can right click to get out of prompts. But because I'm using an emulator, I can pretty much only just click, which is nice, so you can follow along if you're using a phone or tablet. But anyway, we could tribute summon by just clicking a few buttons, and yeah, and then we can go to battle and just drag the monster out, and that attacks, and we win. And that's basically it for the first tutorial. And then the game will ask you to enter your name, then obviously you enter your name. And after you do, you just press continue. And yeah, you're in. Okay, so right after you enter the world, you'll be prompted to go have a battle. And because I chose that I have played the game before, it will show me an option to skip this tutorial duel, and I'll just play it anyways, just so I can show you guys what it's like. But you can skip this duel if you have played the game before, and you have chose that you have played the card game before in the very beginning. That allows you to skip the duel, I believe. But anyway, I'll still be playing this game just for the sake of this tutorial. So basically, spell cards are instant to use cards that you can use immediately, and it goes to the graveyard after you use it. And then trap cards are stuff that you can set, and then you can activate during your next turn. And you can also use it during your opponent's turn, which is pretty nice. So for example, if our opponent attacks us, we could use the trap cards even in our opponent's turn if we have set them beforehand, and then we can just increase our own monster's attack so that we could win the battle. Yeah, that's basically it. It's not very difficult, at least for now. And then yeah, the game will explain to you what stages are. Basically, you can complete missions, and then that gives you rewards, and you can progress through stages. And the further you go, the harder the opponents will be, but honestly, they are not very hard anyway. And as you progress through the stages, you can also unlock new characters and stuff. And then, yeah, the game will tell you to go to the shop and buy a pack from the worst pack ever, but that is fine because it's free. And some people will tell you to reset until you get something like Sphere Karibo, because that's like the only good card in the entire box. But honestly, it's fine if you don't get it. It's not that big of a deal. It's not even that good today anyway. As you can see, we got super rare, which is nice, I guess. But yeah. And then after we buy the pack, we will need to go and find Joey and defeat him. And then once we do, the game will finally officially begin. And the game will tell you to download a bunch of content, and that is where you can actually start to play the game. And then, yeah, you will be unlocking Yami Yugi because that's what you chose at the very beginning. If you chose Seto Kaiba, you will be unlocking him, obviously. It doesn't really matter, you will be getting both anyway, as I said. And also, you're gonna get your starter deck, which is really bad. So you will be replacing this as soon as you can get better cards. And then once you do that, you will go to missions and get the rewards, and that will allow the gate to show up, and that lets you fight Joey, and then unlock the rest of the game. So what you do is you unlock stage 3, and then this gate appears, and then you can fight Joey from this gate. And then, yep, once you're done, you can go to the very left of your Duel world where you can find this gate, and then you can click on this gate, and then you can fight him with your really bad starter deck. But it's fine because his deck is even worse, so it's pretty much impossible to lose this game, I'm pretty sure. So we just go in, and yeah, you can use this game to experiment with how the mechanics work, because for now the games are still really simplistic. So yeah. And also, this is probably the first game that you can actually change the settings. I don't know if you can do it in the Spell and Trap tutorial, but I think you can definitely do it right here. Yeah. So you can press a menu, and it shows a couple of different things. It shows you the dual log and the deck info, and also you can access the settings from this menu. So what I usually do for the settings, and you can customize it yourself obviously, is you can leave the voiceovers on if you want. I usually turn it off because it's kind of a waste of time if I'm doing YouTube content, or if I'm playing I don't really care much about the characters talking. I usually choose top-down view because it's a nicer angle. So once you choose top-down view, the game will look like this. So everything's a bit more clear, and you can see both your and your opponent's side a lot more easily. Power usage, always turn it to the maximum because otherwise the game looks really really choppy and really laggy. And even though, yeah, it's gonna use more power, so if you don't have a lot of battery left, you might want to turn this to the very minimum. But otherwise, turning this to the maximum, it makes the game look a lot more nicer. Anyway, card positions. For now, we can have it on auto, but if you're gonna play competitively or if you're gonna play ranked, you should probably turn it to manual too, which means you can choose where you place your cards. For example, if I'm gonna summon this monster, usually it summons it to the middle as a default, but now I can choose which zone I actually place it in, which will come up when you actually play the game, when you actually use different mechanics of the game to play competitively. So, for example, I'm going to choose a middle anyway because it doesn't really matter in this situation, but there are a lot of times where it will actually matter. And then for chain, you will always want to turn it on, even if you don't have like cards that use this mechanic. It's always good to turn it on because it doesn't. There's no reason not to. And then for the activation confirmation, use toggle button because that gives you this little button over here. If you don't know how to use it, it's fine, but it's nice to have it in your bottom left. So when you do know how to use it, it will actually benefit you a lot. So this button is quite difficult to explain to a new player, but basically, as you play the game, you'll learn how to use this button in PvP to try to trick your opponent, or also save a bit of time by reducing the amount of times the game will ask you for different effect activations. But those are a bit advanced. But for now, even if you don't know how to use it, it's nice to just have it there. It doesn't really affect things too much. 3D visuals, I usually turn it on. You can turn it off if you want to. That's just kind of aesthetics. Character lines, I'll turn that off just so the game progresses faster. Show player name, I usually choose yes, and yeah, that's basically it for the settings that I usually use. So now you can see that the game progresses a lot quicker because we turned off the character lines, so we don't have to listen to them just saying the same lines over and over again. And then, yeah, we can just play the game normally. We can normal summon a monster, choose a zone because we chose that we could manually choose our zones. And then that goes for the spells and traps as well. So Manual 1 lets you choose monsters, and Manual 2 lets you choose both monsters and spell traps. So even though that gives you extra clicks that you have to do to be able to place cards on the field, that is going to be really beneficial when you actually play against other players. Or if you actually start to get into more advanced mechanics like links, and that is when zone placements will really come in handy. But anyway, this game is really straightforward. It is basically a tutorial. Our opponent is going to just summon a bunch of low attack monsters. And even though they are going to beat over some of them, they basically have no way of outing a monster like Feral Imp, which has a 1300 attack. I don't think any of his monsters have enough attack to beat over that, so as long as we summon a big enough guy, we don't even need to make Dark Magician, we can just attack with these medium-sized attack monsters, and we can just win the game by attacking. So yeah, that's basically it for this tutorial game. So after you win, you will be basically... Oh, that's nice. You will be basically prompted to download the additional content for the game, and that is when you will actually be able to play the game, like, officially. But before that, we will unlock Joey Wheeler and get his Red Eyes deck, which will be pretty handy. But now, after you defeated him, you can go and unlock Joey and get his missions, and then now after you clear stage 3 and receive the stage rewards, the game will ask you to download additional data, and you can just download it. It's gonna take a while because there are a lot of cards and a lot of characters and content. So I will see you guys once I have finished downloading everything.